Hey guys, so how's everyone doing? So we'll just do a little update here with some of our chicks. I hope you're enjoying some of the content we're putting up. So if you can see on this little guy right here, we're starting to see some pretty defined comb on the top of his head here. So I'm going to assume this is probably a male. They say you can look at the shape of the wing with the feathers. And if they come across like this, it's usually a rooster. A hen should have a divider here where it kind of looks like a heart. I don't know if that's true or not. We're going to find out. So we're going to just take and look at each chick just a little bit. I'm going to try to do this without getting pooped on. They still aren't used to being held much. So I try to get out here and mess with them just a little bit. Let's grab our next chick. So now this one here, easy baby. Yeah, that's okay. So there's a little bit of a comb starting, and some hens will have those combs, but as you can see, it's nowhere near as defined as that other one was. Just check this wing. Careful, baby. Need you drop it down on the ground. As you can see, there is a definitive separation between the wings. So it could be a hen. We'll just have to wait and see. Here again, this is a different type of a chick, so I'm not really sure what we're looking at here. But the comb, quite a bit smaller, not as much pink starting to show in it. So potentially a hen. We're going to check the wings. Like I say, I'm not sure. This is just stuff I've been reading online. See your wing, baby. This one here does not have that. So this may actually be a rooster of another breed. We'll just wait and see. Yeah, it's okay. Like I say, they don't much like being held at this stage. So this one here, get a little closer shot. See if I can get that to focus a little bit. It's not really showing up, but the comb is quite a bit taller on this one's face. It's got a more rigid, pointed look, so potentially could be a rooster. Might be a hen, hard to say. So what I'm looking on this back side here is there's a shorter feather right here. And that could just be the growth. Like I say, I'm not sure. These are just different things that they've said you can look for online. So I'm just kind of showing what we've got going on. So this one here doesn't really have a tall comb. A little bit going on, but not much. I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm not sure what's hen and what's rooster. I'm gonna open your wing, baby. Chill. This one here doesn't have that divider in it. Doesn't have that shorter feather in between. So could be a rooster. We'll have to wait and see. So this one here's my little Brahma chick. Easy, baby, easy. Now these have a different type of a comb on their head. They don't typically stand up when they get older. It's just like a big blob. Almost looks like a booger. So it's going to be hard to tell. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of comb development here. Just a little bit. We'll check this wing out here. Kind of hard to tell, guys. I'm hoping this one will be a rooster, honestly. But, I mean, if it's a hen, that's still good, too. They lay a pretty nice size egg, so. So this is our Belgian Duclay. Similar to a Brahma in the fact that they have feathers that come all the way down their leg here. They do not get anywhere near as big as a typical chicken though. It is a bantam breed. But they really are pretty whenever they get older from what I've been seeing online. I'm not seeing much of a comb at all on this one. They develop quite a bit slower than the other chicks will. So I don't know if a lot of you can remember some of the first videos where the quail looked like little bitty dwarfs. I mean, they were tiny compared to these chicks. They've hit their second week. We're now starting to approach going into week 3 as far as how old they're getting. I'm going to show you the difference in size now. I mean, once the quail start feathering and getting larger, they get pretty big. Let's see, where you at here, buddy? Easy. Now these here will fly. I had to put a netting on there to keep them from flying away. Careful, bud. Careful. But as you can see, they're getting up in size. I'm going to grab one of these chicks here just so you can kind of see. I mean, they're getting... Yes, baby. I know you don't like to be held. I'm sorry. You can see, I mean, they're catching up pretty quick to these chicks. Here in another week, they'll actually be a little larger than these chicks. We're going to put him back in, or her. Within another week or two, we're going to be able to sex these quail. These here I'm going to take and just put them with my layers and stuff. I need about 2 more males, so I'm hoping we got a few males in there. I've got about 60 eggs in the incubator. We're going to be hatching out here probably in another week, week and a half. They should start hatching. And I'm actually going to try to sell some of these locally, and we're going to see how that works out. So this one here is starting to get a lot of brown, okay? So they were supposedly some California golds that were sent in with this group. I'm thinking hen, based off of the feather. Sorry, my camera angle. I'm not used to using this angle on the camera, but I need to see what I'm doing. But as you can see, there's the definitive almost heart shape to the wings. The comb is starting, but it's not very pronounced. Now, they were saying on some videos that you could tell by the shape of the eye. I'll be honest, I'm not seeing any difference. I mean, they all look like an eye to me. Let's see, where you at? Yeah, so this one here, if you can see her, I'm believing a hen because the other bird of this breed that's in there has a defined comb that's really pointed. This one is not. This is flat, almost kind of bumped. But there again, looking at the wing, if it's true on the wings, it's looking rooster to me. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not going to pull all these guys out. As you can tell, they don't really like being held much. As they get older, I'm going to be going out and giving them like different types of larvae. We've got power worm larvae going on here. And these are looking really well. I've not moved into a larger container yet, but they're devouring the rolled oats quick. I see some that are getting ready to start going into, I guess, turning into a beetle. I'll be honest, I don't know the scientific terms for these things, molting or whatever it's called. But probably here in another week or so, we'll move them to another container that's going to be quite a bit larger and eventually into a tote. But we haven't got that far quite yet. So I'm going to see if I can get one of these quail here. They are fast and they hate to be held at this age. Let's see if we can see something. Yeah, so if you can see on this one here, like I said, it's kind of young still, but you can start seeing some of the copper color coming in on its chest. They will all be light creamed and speckled on this particular style of Coturnix quail. But you can start seeing around 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see the copper color coming into the chest here. So I'm thinking male on this one. We'll know here in another week if it continues to bronze out. I have had some before. Yes, baby. that basically, you know, they'll kind of start to copper, but then they're not, so you're not really sure if they're a male or female. Then you have to vent sex them. They're still a little young for that. The easiest way to do that is about 6 to 7 weeks. You just flip their little tail up and you can look down at the bottom, and there'll be a knot, a little bump just above the vent on the outside. It's not like with a chicken where you have to get the vent to protrude. And once they're a breeding age, you can just lightly push, don't mash, but just lightly push. If you see foam come out, then you've got a male. If you don't see anything come out, then you know it's female. But the females will not have that bump between the inner tail just above the vent and where their tails are at. So that's something you can look for in that. It's okay, buddy. So these things here, they will explode straight up out of the brooder once it hits about 3 weeks. So you definitely need to come in and figure out if you're going to brood quail, especially in the wintertime. Typically at this stage, because they're feathered on their head and their bodies, they have all their juvenile feathers. Excuse me, guys. You can typically move these out if it was summertime and you're not dipping below like the 60s at night. But we've got some really cold nights coming up, about 26 degrees in the evenings. So they're going to stay in here a little bit longer. What I'm doing is I've just got some bird netting. See if I can show you this here. We've got some bird netting going across part of our pen here. We keep it away from the light so it doesn't melt or catch fire. And that just keeps them from flying up. They're not going to fly up near the light, but they could potentially fly up out of the sides is typically what they'll try. As soon as this cold weather breaks, this light's going to get raised up. We have plenty of brood heaters in here. I don't really care much for these style lights, but the reason I'm using it is because we are dropping down into the 20s here at night, and I just want to make sure, as young as these chicks are, that they're going to be warm enough. I believe the quail would be okay. The quail that are outside, they're fully grown and they're doing fine. But as the chicks, they haven't really acclimated to the weather yet. You have to start raising that up before they can go out. But until it starts warming up, I'm going to be using this light at night. I have had it on here the last few days. It's just been raining real bad. We've been around the 40s and stuff. I don't make sure that when they're going into the night transition, they're going to be plenty warm as far as their body heat goes. See if we can find one more chick here. Let's see, who's someone that's not been in front of a camera? Don't all come running up at once, guys. So I'm not really sure what breed this is. Very cool breed. He's starting to get some black on his beak. He's got black coming down his legs here. Let's see if we can get this in the photo. Yeah, so we got some nice black coming down his leg. That's not feathered, that's just black marking in there. So if anyone knows what some of these chicks are, just definitely, drop me a message in the comments so I know what I'm looking at here. Whenever you order from like Tractor Supply or Hoover Hatcheries or somebody like that, and you get what they call the barnyard mix, it's a mix of pretty much anything they have. Now, one of the things that kind of got me to go to Hoover Hatcheries through Tractor Supply is people aren't really ordering chicks this time of year too much because it is so cold, but living in Florida, it kind of gives an advantage. Instead of having to pay the extra $1.50 per bird to get pullets, which are your female hens, you can order just a variety. And they actually have a separation of the pullet and the cockerels, which are your roosters, and they will actually try to balance it out. And whenever I had ordered, I actually received an email from Hoover Hatcheries, and they was asking kind of what I wanted to do, and I told them, I said I wanted some egg layers, but I wanted to be able to breed to keep my flock healthy. Every couple of years, change my egg layers and stuff like that out. And it was kind of nice to receive that email because it looks like they've given me a pretty good balance between roosters and hens. There again, we're not going to really know until we start getting about 3-4 months into this, when you'll start to see the cackle feathers, which is the long pointed feathers on the necks of the roosters, or the saddle feathers is just some long pointed feathers that come across the back. And as these age up, we're going to show you a little bit more about that, things like that. But, you know, for right now, it's just a guessing game as far as what we've actually got out here. But I hope everyone's having a great weekend. We got coming into next week. Be here, I guess tomorrow's Monday already. Time's really flying by out this way. I'm just really hoping it starts to warm up because I want to get my garden started. But I can't do that right now with everything dipping down. So I was kind of looking at the average for the Florida weather that we typically get, because I don't really keep up with that kind of stuff. But you can look at farmer almanacs and things like that. And typically around mid to the end of February, we stop dipping below into the 40s. But because I'm going to be planting a lot of cucumbers and things like that that don't like cold weather, I think I'm going to probably get those seeds out around the second week of March is kind of what I'm looking at. By then, we shouldn't have any frost and things like that. The ground temperature should be up a little better. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Typically in the past, I've always just went to the local garden stores and bought plants and just stick them out. I have done a few seeds in the past, but this year my garden is all going to be started with seeds and things like that. We got a few seeds that are kind of starting germinating right now, but they're not going to be able to move out. I don't want to get too much stuff going because I'm going to outgrow my area and all that. Just put them in a nice shower area, and it has a full spectrum LED bulb for like greenhouses and things like that in there. And they seem to be, I guess they're doing good. Nothing has sprouted yet. They've only been in there a couple weeks. We might do a video on some of that later. But, you know, right now it's just a thing of dirt with some seeds stuck in there. I'm pretty sure anybody can stick a seed in dirt. But I hope everyone's having a great week. We'll catch y'all later.